To continue on from the first video, I want to go more into detail about how to actually figure out what to write about and how to figure out how your post is going to rank. So let's say you write a post, right? You've written a post, but you don't actually know how well it's going to rank. While that's okay for like a personal blog or a website that you don't intend to be making money off, or maybe a website that's not a business, it's something more like a diary. If you're actually running a business, it's important to make sure that your posts are actually getting viewers, right? It's vital because viewers bring or can help you towards whatever your end goal is, whether that is selling a product on the website, getting people to view a certain post and do an action, maybe sign up for your newsletter or subscribe to your YouTube channel. It's important to actually get people to your website so that you have the first step done, right? Once they're on your website, then you can try to sell them the product. Then you can try to get them to subscribe. However, you have to get them to your website first. So a great way that I usually write articles, or the method that I usually use to write articles, is to come up with a theme, like an overall theme or idea that I actually want to write about. So you still want to be enjoying your writing. You don't want to force yourself to write about things only because that's what's popular right now. There's often a balance between what you actually want to write about and what is popular. And hitting that balance is perfect because you won't burn out, you'll still enjoy writing, and you can get viewers and in turn, hopefully, some kind of results from that, right? So what I do is I come up with a broad idea. So for example, Take Me to Korea is all about Korea. And recently, I've been really interested in cafes. Korea has lots of cool cafes, some very quirky cafes, some hidden gem cafes, and there's so many cafes and they're very cool. And I want to write about, let's say, just about coffee and the culture that surrounds it in Korea, because it's very different from most other countries. So now I have my general topic, it's already something that I want to write about. I already want to write about cafes. However, I don't know what specifically to write about, because if you just Google search cafes, this is something that's incredibly competitive because it's such a broad term, right? There's many people who have written articles and many bigger news websites or like Wikipedia-like sites that are already going to be highly ranking for this phrase. However, you can actually see that most of these are already about Korea because Google knows my location, so it's giving relevant results. However, competing for something like this is very, very difficult. For example, I use key search just to give a more visual representation. If I search the word cafe here, it tells me how many people search it on Google. You can see about 500,000 every month. And you can see that the score is 50, which means that trying to write an article about the keyword cafe is very difficult. It's something that it's very hard to rank for because massive websites like Wikipedia and the Merriam-Webster dictionary and cafe.com have already written about this keyword. So what you want to do is narrow the keyword down. You want to think about what is it about cafes or coffee in Korea that you actually want to write about. Do you want to make a list post about 5 cafes that you can visit with your family or that are children friendly? Or do you want to write about the best cafes in a specific neighborhood? It's definitely worth niching down a bit because, as you can see, this is a very competitive phrase, and writing about this, you're probably going to end up on the 10th page of Google or the 50th page. So, as mentioned before, that's useless. You don't want that. So, what you can do is, given you already have a keyword or a key idea that you want to write about, you can then search it on a website like this. So this website is a little bit weird, can be a little bit creepy sometimes, but if you go here, you can search a keyword. So you can see I've already done some examples here. So in this case, I want to do Korean cafes, and I want to search in English. So if I search Korean cafes, this website here will tell me questions that people have about cafes, as well as prepositions, comparisons, and all kind of other information. So As you can see, this is already a bit specific, this phrase, so there's not any why, what, are, will phrases involving Korean cafes. Often if you search a less broad term, these here will have lots of options. However, if I go down, you can see that these are questions that people have searched recently on Google. Korean cafes in Los Angeles, Korean cafes in Seoul, and other cities all around the world. Now, this isn't particularly helpful for us because in this example, I want to write a post about Korean cafes that are actually in Korea. Right? I'm trying to find a more niche topic of cafes to write about. So in this case, the term is probably too specific. You see, all of these things are not really related to Korea. So instead, what I can do is go cafe and Korea, or coffee, Seoul, and then just give it a while to load. Maybe that was too specific. Okay, and Korea.